welcome back to another video. My name is Therese, and if you're new here, I do weekly working mom lifestyle videos, and in this video I'm going to interview working mom Brianna.
Hello.
And she is an awesome working mom who's a nurse, and we're going to talk about how she's also a foster mom as well, so stay tuned.
Too late, my dear friend. We felt the sunshine.
So first, I'm going to have you tell a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, as Therese said, I'm a mom. I'm also a wife. I'm born and raised in Las Vegas and went to nursing school, and I currently work at a local hospital here in an intensive care unit. I work full time, so that's fun. Married the love of my life almost 6 years ago, and I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old. I have one on the way.
Yay.
And yeah, so we had the awesome experience of fostering a baby all last year, and it was great.
Okay,
So, a little bit
awesome.
about me.
Cool. So these questions are actually pulled from the audience here, so we're gonna get going. So the first question is, all right. So first, can you tell us like some stats about the need of foster care here in Las Vegas?
Well, I know in Clark County, we're one of the highest areas as far as needing foster parents. On a practical level, I know after my husband and I were licensed that we were called within 24 hours of getting our license to pick up an infant. My husband and I were only licensed for 0 to 1-year-olds. So, like I said, less than 24 hours we were called to go and pick up a baby from the hospital.
So to get the certification, how does that work?
At least for here in Clark County, the classes took about 3 months. And we went every Sunday, so once a week. The class, I think, was about 3 hours long. And then on top of that, you're connected with a licensing worker that comes to your home and makes sure that your home's appropriate to bring in a child. So you work with them to make adjustments on your furniture or what you have in your house, make sure it's safe to bring in an infant.
So you were getting your certification, and then you weren't even done, but you got called to take a
Yeah,
baby in?
so we got through the classes. We were, you can just feel the urgency when you're going through the classes, and from the licensing worker, they really want to push your license through. They want to get your home ready, and you can feel that pressure. Are you ready? Are you ready for a check? Are you ready for, a placement? So we were definitely pushed. We had to step up a few times and say, we're not quite ready or whatever. So I think just being vocal to them about where you guys are at is important, but you can definitely feel the pressure.
Wow. So question 1 is, how do you balance everything and still make room for rest and health?
Well, I kind of laughed at that question because I think that's just being a mom. Not even introducing the foster care aspect. I think just being a mom, balancing the chaos of motherhood and balancing rest and health is crucial. Just some practical things that I do. I really try hard to meal prep. Meal plan. I usually take at least an hour or 2 out of my week to plan out all my meals, write out a grocery list. These are really simple, practical things, I know, but they help me. That way we're not eating out a ton, and we're eating at home, trying to eat good, whole foods. And then, health-wise, I'm a grandma. I go to bed at 9.
Yeah.
30. I try and have my quiet time in the morning.
Yeah.
Try and really invest in self-care. And for me, I recharge with alone time. And so it's a huge focus of mine to make sure that happens on a weekly basis.
Yeah, so you work time, and then you have 2 kids, one on the way, and then at the time you were fostering.
Yes.
So how did that work with childcare while you were working?
So in my job, I work 3 12-hour shifts. So thankfully in my career, I'm not working 5 days a week. And we were already kind of in a rhythm with my own kids, my 3 and 4-year-old. They go to, my son goes to preschool, my daughter into daycare. So they were already going on those 3 days. And we had to just navigate getting services for our foster child on how to be reimbursed for childcare, which there is programs that will reimburse
Good.
you.
Yeah.
You have to find them and you have to look hard for them, but they are out there to help reimburse you for childcare. So we just really just flushed him right into our routine of
Good.
him going to daycare with the rest of our kids.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because for the working moms who's interested in fostering, there is reimbursement for childcare for those who need it. So
Yes,
that's good to
and
know.
I know that that is the case in other states. I kind of did some research even in other states, and I know, like I said, it's not easy. Sometimes they have a lot of restrictions. I know in our case, it was not fully reimbursed, but it was more important to my husband and I to place our foster child in a school that we would put our own kids.
Yeah.
So we did come out of pocket for that a little bit, but we had a large part of it was reimbursed
Oh,
by
cool.
the state.
Awesome. So how do you prioritize your marriage?
So I feel like we do this in a couple ways. My husband and I both put a huge emphasis on date nights and going out, getting dressed, like besides sweatpants and a t-shirt. And we are blessed to live around a lot of family, so I have some built-in babysitters there. But even other babysitters, we bring them in, and there wasn't any really restrictions on family watching the foster child. We did look into that, so that was okay. So we try and do that on a weekly or every other week basis. But on the day-to-day, it's something I thought of reading that question was how important schedules are and structure with kids, like in bedtime. A lot of times our quality time, my husband and I together, is after the kids go to bed, and their bedtime is 7:30. Good night.
Yes.
So bye kids. So 7:30, even our foster baby, we were able to sleep train him, and he was usually in bed by 6 or 6:30.
Yeah.
I know it's super early. It makes for an early morning, but that gives my husband and I usually an hour to 2 hours of just being able to be alone and no kids
Yeah.
around. So
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Baby Wise.
yes.
So, what do you need to do to prepare for foster care, personally with your own kids, your home, and set up work schedule?
Well, I kind of talked about already that it starts with the classes and being licensed. There are some rules in the home as far as how the bedrooms can be set up. I think that differs state to state probably, but for ours, my newborns usually sleep in the room with my husband and I, in their own crib, but in the room. And there's things with like measuring how far the crib can be from the bed, and things like we had to have. I know we were bad. We didn't have fire extinguishers in the whole house. That kind of. You have to have fire extinguishers. You have to have, if you have a 2-story house, a ladder that can be let down out the window in case there's a fire. And then basic safety things, outlet plugs, that kind of stuff. So there's some adjustment to the home. Preparing my kids was definitely something I sought out a lot of advice for, because my kids are little. They're 3 and 4. I don't think grasp the concept. They weren't as excited when I said, kids, we're bringing home a foster baby. They don't know what that means. So somebody I really respect in the foster community had told me to explain it to them as we're bringing in a baby whose parents are sick, and they are getting help. And when the parents are well, the plan is for the baby to go back home with mommy and daddy. And that was kind of what we rode on with our kids. It was the easiest way for us to explain to them why all of a sudden there was a baby in their house.
Yeah.
And especially my 4-year-old really, I feel like, did his best to grasp that, that his mom was getting help because she was sick. And she eventually did get better, and he went home about 4 months ago.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, so that leads into the next question is, how do you keep your heart compassionate and not bitter or angry at injustice and the various systems that seem to be failing? Loaded question.
Yeah, it is loaded. It's hard because, my husband and I were not perfect in this area. There was many times where we felt disappointed in the county, disappointed in the caseworker, feeling like more should have been done. But I think at the end of the day, one of the things that really helped me as a mom, and talking to other moms, I really tried hard to see, we were pouring into this baby, loving him like our own, treating him just like our other children, but I also tried really hard to pour into his mother and see her as a mom, not just somebody that had made a bunch of mistakes and didn't make the right choices and punish her. really tried to see her as a person and another mother, just like myself. And I've been blessed to be able to have my own children. There was several moments, like when I picked up the baby from the hospital and I brought him home, and there was this moment where I was buckling him into about to bring him to the house, and it was just him and I got so emotional thinking how special it is when we get to bring our babies home from the hospital. And here I was bringing somebody else's baby home.
Wow.
She didn't get to have that joy of putting him in his outfit, putting him in the car, and this is the baby I got to carry for 9 months and now bring him home. She didn't get to have that.
Yeah.
And so I think, that was a really special moment. And so every time I saw her on a weekly basis, and her and I still to this day have a relationship, but really walking into it without judgment on her, and trying to love her where she was at. She's been through a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that, we can take for granted sometimes the wonderful life that we're given.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Not putting so much pressure on the county to fix it and the system to fix it, but just loving that baby and loving his mom right where they were at. It gave me a lot of purpose, and I felt like I did as much as I could do.
Yeah, that's good. Just giving her like respect and dignity.
Yeah,
I
mean, the first time I met her, I remember I wrote a card to her. Another foster kind of mentor had told me, right when you first meet her, explain to her, and affirm to her, who is the mom here?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I gave her a card, and I grabbed her by the shoulder hug, and I just said, you are his mother. I'm not trying to take your baby. I'm not trying to be the mom to this child. I just want you to know that we plan on keeping him safe while he's in our home. And so we made that very clear from the beginning, just acknowledged, and that's, I think, as moms, how hard would that be to not be acknowledged as someone's mom? So I was trying to give her that respect, and it has paid off, because now we still get to see him, and it's a good relationship.
How did she respond? Was she like in tears when you were that?
She looked shocked.
Yeah.
She has, this was not her only child. She's much younger. I think she, as nervous as I was to meet her for the first time, if the shoe's on the other foot, imagine how nervous she is.
Yeah.
I have her child, her newborn, and she has no idea what kind of home or place that he's living in. How scary would that be for her? So she just kind of had this look like, oh, I think she was ready to be judged, ready to be treated differently.
Wow.
And so, like I said, now that he's home, I still get to have a relationship with him, I think, because of it. And I'm not a hero. I just feel like God really placed a sensitivity on me just to connect to another mom, and that really was all it was.
Yeah. What are your practical steps when you feel frustration rising so you can respond versus react?
I think I'll answer it more in like the light of foster care, since that's what we're talking about. There was a lot of moments when this baby came home that, my heart went out to him, because I knew he wanted that motherly, that's what babies are born to be, in their mother's arms, and that didn't happen for him. And so I felt like a lot more fussy, a lot more restless than my other kids were. And there was just things that just naturally I wasn't able to provide for him because I was not his biological mother. And so instead of feeling, acting out of frustration, I would do things like they say for other moms to do, take a second, put the baby down, walk away. I didn't find that I had quite as much, I felt like a crazy person every time I have a baby for about 3 straight months. And thankfully I didn't have those raging hormones because I did not birth him. But, asking for help, reaching out to family, telling my husband, man, he hasn't stopped crying all day. There was a lot of times I felt like there was nothing I could do for this child. And so wrapping him to my chest while he screamed his head off, trying to, soothe him. And, babies obviously can feel that frustration. So just learning when to walk away, when to take a break, when to just say, scream. There's not really a thing I can do about it except love him. So...
How did your birth children embrace the foster baby?
I think it's, seeing the world and, and through the eyes of a child is so humbling. My kids, literally since the day he came home, still to this day believe that is their brother. They do not, they had no problem taking that baby in, and still to this day ask me, when is he coming home? You know, I don't want to paint this out to be all, you know, roses and butterflies, because it's not. We still are dealing with, now the hard part is explaining to my kids that he's at his mom's house. They don't really understand that. You know, and hard things, like now with this baby, my son Judah just asked me a few days ago, Mom, is this baby gonna get to stay with us forever?
Oh, wow.
And that was hard, that broke my heart, but it was a reasonable question, you know, in the light, you know, my son's eyes, the last baby we brought home didn't get to stay with us. And so, you know, I haven't figured out the answers to all those questions, but I can tell you that little children, there is something about them that is so innocent and so willing to take in others.
Yeah.
I mean, and you were witness to it.
Yeah.
They still believe that that is their brother to this day. So.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to watch you, because you took the baby home from the hospital, and to see just your kids love on them, it was awesome. And just to really see how he just was so much more healthier. Like he was, you know, you can tell like he was stressed, like leaving the hospital, and then just having stability was really like impacting, you know?
Yeah, and then there's the whole transition home.
Yeah.
Is, you know, and that was something, one of the big struggles I had was balancing, one, you take in this child and you love them truly like they are your own. You know, you don't hold back because they might leave. You give them everything you have, but then you have, on the other hand, in the back of your mind, you know that they may go home. And there was talk of adoption, there was talk of, you know, he may go home this week, oh, never mind. I mean, your emotions are all over the place. And so to have that, you know, basis where I can run to the Word of God and I can get encouragement from him and the strength that I needed. I still to this day don't know how I drove him home and dropped him off. I was a train wreck.
Wow.
But I did it. I, in all my tears and crying and, you know, sadness, I handed that baby over, and it was the saddest day for me, but it was the happiest day for that mom.
Yeah.
And so looking at her and getting to see that smile on her face of I finally get to have my baby, that's why it's so important, I think, to see that mom where she's at, because as sad as I was, and still am, you know, I still miss him. I'm happy she's successful another day, and that baby's still with his mom. That's where he should be. So
that's good. So, what would you say to like a working mom who's interested in foster care? Would you have to have all the answers before you do it?
No, because I definitely didn't. There was many times. I think that's so true of many things in life, but I did look at, with my working schedule, I work, again, 12 hours. I go into work, I leave my house at 5:30 in the morning. I usually get home at 7 p.m. It is very long. I don't offer a lot of assistance on those days because I'm literally gone the whole day. My husband has to hold down the house. I just kind of finally jumped in with 2 feet. Some people would maybe think that's reckless, but I just felt like I was never going to have all the answers, and whether I was a full-time stay-at-home mom, part-time, full-time working mom, could I love this child?
Yeah.
Could I give him 100% of everything I had and what I already do for my kids? And my answer was yes.
Yeah.
So we figured it out.
Yeah.
We did it for almost a year before he went home, and so jump in, do it. And the good thing with foster care is there's other avenues. You know, you can do respite care where you're taking in kids for a short amount of times. Just there's such a crisis nationwide, so I would say definitely look into it.
Yeah, and it's awesome too because we have a really supportive community, and so that was really good. And I really liked how you set the boundary for only accepting babies that are younger than your youngest.
Yes. I was told that advice by somebody that has many children through the foster care system. And not everybody does it that way, and that's okay, but that really resonated with me. You know, the safety of my children was obviously, I mean, that in my book was the number one priority. And so I was given the advice to, why don't you take in kids only younger than your youngest? And at the time, my youngest was 2. So we only did 0 to 1-year-olds.
Yeah.
And there are so many infants. It's crazy. I mean,
Is that the greatest need, the baby?
I don't know if it's the greatest one. I think
Yeah.
in the class, I actually think it is teenagers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But the way that infants are taken into the system, usually through the hospital, there just seems to be a lot of them. And like I said, less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, we got a week to prepare. Or,
Yeah.
No, it was like, boom, we were getting calls. And, so there's a huge need.
That's okay. Awesome. Thanks, Brianna, for those questions. It was such a good information. So now I'm going to do a lightning round that she didn't prepare for. So we'll get to know her a little bit more. Okay. So talking or texting?
Talking.
Person you mostly trust with a secret?
Probably my sister.
Last thing you grabbed from your fridge?
I made breakfast this morning. I think eggs.
Good. Favorite nickname for yourself?
Oh, for myself?
Yeah.
No. Probably have to ask my husband. It'd be Babe or something. I think that's probably what it's called the most.
Biggest pet peeve?
People snacking when they're eating or that noise in people's mouth. Oh,
Cat or dog?
cats.
Last song you had on repeat?
That song, that Glorious Day song.
Oh, yeah.
That
Boat.
that song? Okay, I'm butchering it. But there's a song we sing at church, yes.
Okay, yeah, I know
that
what you're
my
talking about.
kids are obsessed with, and it's on all the time.
Good. If you had only one item in a zombie apocalypse?
Probably my phone. Also one.
Air dry or blow dry?
I'm so busy with blow drying, air dry.
Yeah, that's mostly every
I
working
do not
mom.
have time.
Go-to comfort food?
Anything crunchy, chips, Cheez-Its, anything.
Good.
Like that.
New York or LA?
I've never been in New York. LA.
Yeah. Awesome.
the corner.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching Brianna as she interviewed for giving tips for fostering and working mom. I'm also going to link her husband's YouTube channel. He has a YouTube channel called Making America Civil Again, and it's all things politics. It's like fun
Yes, lots of fun.
political stuff.
Yes.
But go ahead and check them out as well. And thank you so much for watching. If you're new, consider subscribing and share this video if you want to share with anyone. Thank you. Bye.